I built a giant underground base in hardcore Minecraft. This took me over 5 months to build and was also pretty dangerous, so if you do end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. It's completely free and I'd really appreciate it. Now on with the video. Now the first thing I want to do is get netherite armor, so... So now I have full netherite armor, but unfortunately for me, I'm a bit of an idiot and I forgot to duplicate an extra netherite upgrade smithing template, so that means I won't be upgrading my tools anytime soon. Now it was almost time to get working on the underground base, but first I had to light up this giant cave under my castle so I could safely build there. Now I would normally just dig out the shape of the room underground, but since I have a giant cave under my castle, I would have to build a large section of the first few rooms. So that's why I made a stone generator, because I find that easier than smelting 10 stacks of cobblestone. Oh look, it's a wandering trader. Oh no, it despawned. Oh, why do they keep doing that? And for this room, I'm making a lobby and I'm making it out of stone. And now over here I have to fill in the floor in the part that's exposed to the cave. And over here I have to fill in the walls in the part that's exposed to the cave. And that's the shape of the lobby, done. And for the interior, I'm not going to do too much because it is just a lobby and I couldn't really think of anything anyway. I'll just add some redstone lamps, a table in the center of the room, and some paintings. Now it was time for me to start working on the next room, and I wanted to have 2 rooms extend from underneath the lobby just like in this picture. So I start by adding ladders going down 10 blocks. I then start digging out the shape of the next room. I also decided it would be better to just dig out the shape of the other room as well. And for this next room, I wanted to make this sort of green lush cave room, and in the very unlikely case that you have been following the series for over a year, you would know that I found this mushroom island with an azalea tree on top, and that indicates that there is a lush cave underneath it. Alright, time to get digging. Now it's time to turn this room into a lush cave. Now it was time to transform the ceiling, and I'm going to add some rooted dirt here and there because I saw some rooted dirt on the ceiling of the lush cave. I'm also making these little pools because I saw some of those in the lush cave as well. I'm also gonna add some drip leaf, and also some flowering azalea bushes. I'll also add some glowberry vines here and there. And that's the lush room complete. And for this next room, I'm making sort of a nether room where I'll place my new nether portal. I'll make it mostly out of netherrack, but I'll also add these patches of soul sand. Now that the walls are done, it's time to get working on the floor and ceiling. I used glowstone for light since it is a nether light source. Now all that's left to do is make a nether portal. And that's the nether room complete. And for the next room, I want to make a sort of mining lobby that will pretty much be the hub of a series of tunnels with each one leading to a different Y level for a different ore. And right now I'm making this sort of tunnel connecting the nether room and the lush room. And I will have a ladder in the center of the tunnel, and that ladder will lead down to the miner lobby. That way you can enter the miner lobby from both the lush room and the nether room. Now you can enter the mining lobby from both the lush room and the nether room. It is kinda dark here though, so I'll need to add some lights. Now it's time to start digging out the miner lobby. Alright, that is the shape done. Right now I'm making this sort of chamber in the center of the mining lobby, and this chamber is basically where you end up when you go down the ladder. Then you can open the door and go to the mining lobby. The reason I did this is because I figured it would take up some more space. I also added some redstone lamps because they seem to fit the mining vibe. Now it was time to start digging all the tunnels, and I was just digging the tunnel for diamond level when I realized how much redstone I needed and how little I really had. And since each ore has a unique Y level, I would need a ton of redstone for powered rails. So that's why I decided to leave this for later and start working on the next room. Now it was time to start working on the next room, and I wanted to have 2 sets of bubble columns at each end of the mining lobby, and each set of bubble columns would take you to another room. I also hollowed out the shape of the other room as well. And for this room I wanted to make sort of an inside swimming pool. And I think that the texture of oak planks is a good texture for a swimming pool, so that's what I'm gonna use. And now it was time to dig out the swimming pool. But before I got started on the interior, I noticed that my day count was at 999, and after a little bit of waiting, we have officially survived 1,000 days in this hardcore world. Thank you to everyone who has been following along on this journey, and now back to building. And for the interior, I added a high dive where you can jump into the pool from, and also these poolside chairs where you can relax. And that's the pool room complete. For this next room, I'm making a dining room, and if I used oak for the last one, I think birch would fit well for this one. After making the exterior of the dining room, I made 2 tunnels connecting the 2 rooms. I'll explain why later. And over here I'm making a dining table out of stone bricks. I'm also adding some paintings here for a little bit of color. And over here I put some trap doors with flower pots on top of them. And the reason I made those 2 tunnels connecting the 2 rooms is because I want to make it so that there is a staircase at each end of each tunnel, and each one of those staircases will take you to a different room. So in total there will be 4 of those. And there's no need to show you me actually building the staircase, so...
Nice.
And before getting started on the next room, I wanted to once again dig out the shape of all 4 rooms. And for this room, I'm making a movie theater because I think it could turn out pretty good. And for the lights, I think that magma blocks could actually work really well because they're very dim but also keep it just bright enough to prevent mob spawns. Right now I'm making this contraption that will make it so once I flick a lever, redstone lamps on the ceiling turn on or off. So when there's a theoretical movie playing, the lights will be off, but when there isn't one, the lights can be on. And I do want the movie screen to give off some light for a more realistic effect, but since normal paintings don't do that, I'm gonna put some glowstone behind the painting. Alright, perfect. Now all that's left to do is add some chairs and a red carpet. I am adding some redstone torches though, just in case the magma doesn't keep it bright enough to prevent mob spawns. And that is the movie theater complete. And for this next room, I'm making an ore display, and I'm making the walls out of iron blocks because it kinda matches the theme of an ore display. And now I need to get everything on this list. This video is turning out a lot harder than I thought it would be. Alright, that's lapis done. Alright, and that's amethyst done. And also gold. And do you remember me saying that this was gonna be really hard? Well, I kinda forgot that I had most of the ores in my shulker box from all this mining. I also added signs with the rarity of each ore, kinda similar to what I did with the armor stands in my castle a few episodes back. Now all that was left to do was make this little stone brick path on the floor just to add some more texture to this room. And that's the ore display done. For this next room, I'm building a room of the 4 elements, but as per usual, my brain hates me and I forgot to record myself building the exterior of the room.
You stupid!
Well, let me give you a quick summary. I split the room into 4 equal parts for 4 different elements: fire, water, earth, and wind. For the fire section, I used magma blocks. For the water section, I used blue ice. For the wind section, I used calcite. And for the earth section, I used none other than dirt. And for every element, I'm going to have a glass box displaying the element inside of it. And for the earth element, I'm going to be displaying both dirt and mud to show the different states of the element. For the fire element, I'm going to be displaying both lava and fire to show the liquid and non-liquid form of the element. And for the water element, I'm going to stick to the same theme of displaying both the liquid and solid form of the element. And for the air element, there really wasn't much to do. Now all that was left to do was add the glass. And that is the element room complete. For this next room, I want to make a giant aquarium, but since I don't have prismarine and I don't want to raid an ocean monument just yet, I'm going to use crimson wood because it's blue and kinda reminds me of the ocean. And for inside the aquarium, I'm making the floor 50% sand and 50% gravel. I'm also gonna add some rocks on the inside of the aquarium. And over here I'm adding some kelp and seagrass to make it look more natural. And right now I'm collecting some tropical fish for the aquarium. And that is the aquarium room complete. And for the next room, I want to make it so that each of the previous 4 rooms would have a ladder going down to 2 really big rooms. These rooms will be big enough to make it so, for example, you can enter the left side of the room from the aquarium room and enter the right side of the room from the element room. So I ran into a little bit of a problem. See, there's this giant cave here where I'm going to build my next room, and there's a deep dark under it. I really hope that's not going to be a problem for the future rooms. Now it's time to get digging out both rooms, which is about 500,000 blocks. Yup, this video is officially a lot harder than I thought it would be. And that's the outline of the 2 rooms complete. And I want to make the next room out of wood, But that means I would need about 1,700 wooden planks, and there's no way I'm chopping that much wood again, so you guessed it, I'm making a tree farm. And since I need a ton of scaffolding for this farm and I barely have any string, I'm also making a string duper. Now it's time to build the tree farm. Okay, that was more than an hour of work shown in 5 seconds. Alright, now it's time to start building the spa. Over here I'm making this little tub that people can relax in. And right here I'm making this water fountain. Over here I'm making a bathroom / shower stall. Now I need to replicate this just over here. And done. Over here I'm adding some bamboo just to add a little more color to this room. I'm also adding these leaves as a final touch. And that is the spa complete. This next room is gonna be a storage room made of spruce. Okay. And I'm adding redstone lamps as a light source because I think that the texture of redstone lamps kind of pairs well with the texture of spruce wood. Now this room isn't gonna have a ton of detail because I couldn't really come up with anything that would fit well in the storage room. I am adding chests though, because otherwise it would not be a storage room, it would just be a room.
Yeah, no Sherlock!
And lastly, I'm adding this spruce log path on the ground just to try and add a little more detail. And that is the storage room complete. And for the last 4 rooms, I just wanted to have a ladder going down from each outer edge of the 2 rooms, but that didn't go quite as planned. Yeah, just watch the next clip. Now, for people with a normal functioning brain, accidentally falling into the home of the warden would probably give them a desire not to stick around for too long. But as you could probably already tell, I'm not one of those people, and I decided that I really wanted to get a sculpt sensor and there was no stopping me. Yeah, let's not try that again, shall we? And I managed to actually dig down the tunnel deep enough without activating any shriekers. That was until... And if I'm being honest, this was 100% my fault for going through with this, since I literally saw skulk shriekers that first time I fell. So obviously my original plan of going down 50 blocks with a ladder isn't going to work. So instead I'll make it so that you can go down 10 blocks with a ladder, and then there's a railway going 200 blocks in each direction. That way I don't have to build in a death zone. There's only one slight problem with this. I have literally 0 redstone. So that's why I'm making a witch farm. Alright, that should be enough redstone for now. And even though it took me an entire week to actually build these railways, I'm just gonna go through it really quickly because we've already reached the length of my normal videos. And for this next room, I'm building a sort of dungeon. I'm making the walls out of a mixture of cobblestone and stone brick. Over here I'm making this sort of lava thing that will kinda serve as the main light source. I also put this wooden cross over here where you put people who misbehave. Over here I'm making this chamber where you can get impaled by iron bars. Over here I made this jail cell which I'm gonna replicate over here. Over here I made this place where you get hanged over fire. Over here I made this chair where you can get both impaled and dripped on. And that's the dungeon complete. Over here I'm making a brewery, like a place where you brew potions. Over here I'm putting some barrels that you can store potions inside of. I also made these tunnels because they look pretty cool. And that is the potion room complete. For the next room I want to make an old storage room. Now you might be thinking that's extremely boring, but I'm going to make it so that if you move a book inside of a bookshelf in that room, a secret door opens and that secret door leads down to a secret mafia lair. Now this room would look pretty complete, but I still need to add the secret door leading down to the secret mafia lair. Now what I wanted to happen was that you move the book in the bookshelf and then the door would automatically open for a few seconds and then close. But oddly enough, I couldn't find a single tutorial online that explained how to do that. And with my terrible redstone knowledge, designing a machine that allowed that legit took me 5 hours. And while I was gathering slime balls for the machine, I saw this skeleton wearing full enchanted diamond armor. So it's been a few hours, but now all you have to do is put the book in the top shelf, leave it there for a few seconds, and then move it to the bottom shelf. And now the door opens and then closes right behind you. Now all that's left to do is build a mafia lair. And that's the mafia lair complete. I even added a table with a map of the whole town on it with labels on every single house. And you can exit the mafia lair by using this so-called old exit out of order. This final room is going to be an end themed room and it's even going to have a railway to the end portal. And for the exterior of this room, I'm using this texture of half end stone and half end brick. And for the lights, I'm using end rods because they are a natural end light source. Over here, I'm making a showcase of some natural blocks and items that are native to the end dimension. So I made another portal inside the stronghold, and I also made one here. So now I only need to connect the two using rails. And since the 1.21 update adds a new feature that allows minecarts to pass through nether portals, I had only to wait 3 days and the railway was fully operational. And yeah, that's all for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video because it took me over half a year to make. Also, make sure to go subscribe before we hit 5,000 to become a part of the pre-5,000 gang. I'm also going to be shouting out 2 fans at the end of each video. First, I'm going to be shouting out the Lilac Water Lily for supporting my channel for a very long time. I'm also going to be shouting out Typical Sushi for being one of my first subscribers. And until next time, peace